Maybe for goblins it's just harder to tell human sexes apart, but even our clothes are different. But he doesn't know about that kind of stuff. Maybe men and women goblins wear the same clothes. I mean, some goblins have advanced culture and built countries, but he's probably not from a group like that. Henry realized she hadn't answered Arg's question. Yes, she's a girl. So are you a caster? No, why? Arg looked very confused. I am the caster. I'm an arcane caster. Are you guys married? Is that why? Huh? They both reacted with yelps. Well, I just feel like I heard about some tribes where the wife wields the husband's authority, but you ray not like that. No, we ray not. The goblins looked like they wanted to say something in response to Henry's forceful rejection, but she saw them shrug. Then why is a girl in charge? If you don't know, that's why you ray a kid. Our boss lady is strong in ways you can see with your eyes. Henry was about to deny that, but she was overpowered by Arg's intent, saucer-eyed stare, and couldn't find the words to explain. While she was at a loss, Kaijari asked the child a question. Okay, now we'll be asking the questions. Why was that thing chasing you? What happened? Well, hey, shouldn't we discuss those things in the safety of the village? The one who answered Henry's question was yeah, that seems like a better plan. A woman who hadn't even been there until now. Everyone gasped in shock and turned in the direction of the voice. An eye-catchingly beautiful woman was standing there. She had her hair in braids, and her skin was brown. She wore, according to her, a maid uniform. Some kind of strange weapon-like thing was strapped to her back. She was an extremely shady character, but also a familiar face. Lupus Regina, the maid, worked for the village's savior, Aints Ool Gown. She delivered alchemy supplies to the Belair house and also brought the stone golems to the village and gave them their orders. The villagers took a shine to her right away due to her bright personality and cheerful way of talking. But she was unfathomable in some ways, like how she would suddenly appear out of nowhere. The villagers figured that she must have magic abilities since she was that great caster's maid. That is how Henry understood it as well. Even so, when the maid suddenly appeared like this, her heart would leap into her throat. Lupu, where do you come from? PSH, Simone, and I've been behind you the whole time. Wait a minute. Don't tell me you didn't notice. I thought you were ignoring me. What, huh? It sounded like a joke, but her voice was dead serious. Henry looked around at everyone else for help. Lady Lupu, that's enough joking around. Wow, you think I am joking? I'd really like you to remember. Just kidding. I was playing around. Everyone became silent, then someone sighed, exasperated. Well, enough about that. Anyhow, who is this goblin kid? He can be. Henry felt Lupus Regina's eyes flitting between her and the goblins and had a bad feeling. PFT, NFI. Guess the goblins got to her first. PFFFFFT. Everyone blinked non-stop as her laughter continued. How awful. A pure-hearted lad's dream trampled. How hilarious. Waha. But seriously, who the heck is this? Arg twitched as if he'd seen something alien, but Henry understood how he felt. Lupus Regina was cheerful, but her expressions changed rapidly. She seemed manic. The gap between a smile and a sudden straight face could produce a mysterious fear. I want to snatch you up and eat you. No worries, I just want a chill explanation about who you are. Lady Lupu, didn't you agree that we would talk about those things later? Oh yeah, I do seem to remember randomly saying something like that. Oh, Miss Beta, there's a potion I'd like you to take to Sir Gown. It's newly developed, and we have proof it works. Oh, you finally got something INFI? That's right. Unfortunately, it's not completely read yet, but we're getting close. Splendid. I am sure Lord Aints will be pleased. Not only her words, but her entire vibe changed. She seemed like a whole other person, not the silly, cheery woman from before, but that expression lasted only a moment. The next second, she was back to her normal self. Well, that is something to look forward to. Coming today was the right idea, and you don't have to call me Beta. I'll make a mega exception and say you can call me Lupus Regina. She warmly mingled with the party as they walked to the gates. The villagers didn't say anything upon seeing the unfamiliar goblin child. It was possible they were overly relaxed. It also showed how much they trusted Henry and her friends, or maybe they had assumed he was a relative of the goblins who protected them. The group cut across the village and past Henry's house. They were headed for the goblin residence. Sorry, 1 second. I'd like Brita to hear this boy's story too. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea, boss man. She is an apprentice ranger, so she goes in the woods as well. We should share the info. What do you think, boss lady? Me, she hadn't expected to be consulted, so she hurriedly considered her answer. Seeing no reason to disagree, she nodded. Yeah, I don't mind, or rather I'd like her to listen too. Thanks NFI. Enfire was off and running with a got it. I don't mind waiting here, but maybe we should go on ahead and pour some drinks. Sounds good. You guys must be thirsty. Lady Lupu, you're a maid, right? So do you know how to make some tasty drinks? I am Lord Aints S, and the other supreme being's maid. I don't want to work for anybody else. All I want to do is laze around, so no way am I working. I see that S too bad. The conversation between Unrai and Lupus Regina was totally normal, nothing strange about it at all, but Henry felt a chill go up her spine. Just as she was about to chime in, they reached the goblin's home. It was a huge place. The yard was big enough to let the wolves run freely. It was spacious enough for about 20 people to live. There were spaces to maintain weapons as well as to train. The goblins who opened the door led Henry, Arg, and Lupus Regina inside. Wow, so this is what it's like in here. Huh, you've never been inside, Lupu. Now I haven't you can go in without being invited. Oh, I should mention that it's because of manners physically I have no trouble. Miss Manchest is the one with that kind of weird setting. Miss Manchest, right, N. That is what I call Miss Unfortunate Baby Doll. Well, it's not like she can actually enter any room she wants, either. It's a myth, it's folklore. Anyhow, enough of that. That goblin looks like he's got something to say. Oh yes. About drinks, would you like herbal water or fruit water? We have blackweed tea or water with Hueli in it. Arg and Lupus Regina didn't seem to understand Unrai's question, so Henry explained. Hueli is a citrus fruit. Water with cut-up Hueli in it is refreshing. Blackweed tea is a bitter tea. Then I want Hueli. I am good with that too, got it. How about boss lady? Then I'll have Hueli as well, please. Also, could we wash our hands? Even though I am used to the smell, it's sort of sure, go ahead. Hey kid, Arg, this way, we gotta clean you up a bit. And brother, can you put away these dirty weapons? Are you sure? Should be fine. We can wash them all now anyhow, and we'll be done with this in a bit. If you say so. Kaijari took the 3 goblins' weapons and left the room. Arg, would you come along already? Why do I have to wash? I am clean. Henry could see his hands were filthy. They were clean by any definition of the word. We're not asking for your opinion. The master of the house just told you to go wash up. Or are you such a big shot you can object to what the master of the house says? Arg pouted and walked next to Henry. She drew some water from a pot and poured it into a bucket. Once she had enough for 4 people, she plunged her hands into the shockingly cold water and scrubbed. She made sure the green under her fingernails came off. Once they looked clean enough, she lifted them out of the water and brought them to her nose. Nope, no smell. Satisfied, she turned to look at the scene next to her. Unrai and Goku were washing their hands like she had been. The water was turning the red of the Barghest's blood. Next, she checked on Arg and was immediately irritated. Even a toddler wouldn't wash up so poorly. He splashed a little water on his hands. He squished them together a couple of times. That was it. He didn't rub or anything. Now that she'd gotten the green stink off her own hands, she noticed that Arg still smelled like crushed herbs. Perhaps for goblins who lived in the woods, where magical beasts with excellent senses of smell lived, stinking like this was self-protection. Maybe that was why he didn't have a habit of bathing. Still, this is how you do it. Arg made a face when Henry taught him. Perhaps he remembered what the other goblins had said about his position. He reluctantly imitated her. Nice job. Hey, now wipe your body with this. You've got to get all that blood off. With a grumpy look on his face, he took the damp hand towel and used it to wipe down. Can we toss the dirty water outside? Oh, right. Please go ahead and sit down, boss lady. We'll handle the rest. Taking them up on their kindness, Henry headed for the table. There were a lot of goblins living in the house, which meant there were a lot of chairs. When she chose one and sat down, she finally realized how exhausted she was. Her arms and legs were stiff like rods, and her head felt heavy. Gathering herbs was exhausting, but the battle with the Barghest had especially tired her out. Even though all I did was watch, Enfire and the goblins were actually fighting. They went about their tasks like normal though. I'll never get used to battle. While Enfire was as strong as anyone, she knew he could use magic, but she didn't realize how strong he was. Yes, amazing. Her old friend seemed like someone else entirely. A feeling she couldn't quite explain welled up inside her. It felt a little like surprise, but also completely different and mysterious. After hearing a ceramic cup being placed in front of her, Henry came back to her senses. The cup was filled to the brim with a clear liquid. It gave off a citrus scent. She picked it up and took a sip. A refreshing sweetness and citrus flavor spread throughout her body. She practically felt filled with vitality. At some point, Arg had sat beside her. He gulped his drink down in one go and asked for seconds. Lupus Regina, didn't he touch her drink? Come to think of it, she never eats or drinks. What's up? You Ray starring awfully hard. Don't tell me you got a thing for me. Oh man, but then I can believe you Ray a lesbian. We gotta tell everybody. What? No, I am not. Wahahaha, just kidding. You like guys, right? Henry wasn't sure what to say and pursed her lips. Where are they anyway? Oh, here they come. Henry looked toward the door without thinking, but didn't he sense anyone coming? Really? I can hear a thing. Arg cupped his hands behind his ears. Hey, are humans a race with really good hearing? I guess I can hear anything. But Lupus Regina sometimes fibs like that, to tease people, I guess. Arg looked at Lupus Regina with a face that seemed to say, what? You were lying? Then his eyes widened. No, I hear it, they're coming. Wow, you Ray amazing. Oh nah, compared to the boss lady over there I am no big deal. Arg took her seriously and gaped at Henry. No, that's not true. Plus, Lupus Regina is grinning like she just told a huge lie. But before Henry could figure out how to clear up the misunderstanding, someone knocked on the door. It was Enfira and a woman in leather armor. The ex-adventurer Brita was the next person to move to the village after Enfira. Apparently, she had been an adventurer in E-Rantle, but retired after some things happened. She still had to eat though, so she answered Khan's call and moved in. She was training as a ranger, and Henry heard she showed promise. She wasn't as strong as Jujimu, but she was still top class among those in the village, so she was the leader of the self-defense unit. It wasn't really grand enough to deserve the name, though. She had been called to the meeting because she was the leader of that group. She was also an apprentice ranger, and as such had occasion to enter the forest. Oh, there really is a new goblin, yeah, I can help looking at them from an adventurer's point of view, but I guess I shouldn't think of them as enemies. Brita winced. Henry could understand how she felt. As far as she had heard, goblins were enemies of humans. It wasn't considered wrong to kill them on sight. But this village was different. It almost felt like in this place, humans were the greatest enemies. Okay, everyone here, let us hear what he has to say. Now then, Arg, please tell us why you were all beat up and on the run. Simply put, I got attacked, so I ran away. That's too simple. What kind of monster attacked you? One of the Giant of the East's underlings. The Giant of the East? Who's that? What do you guys call him? No, before we worry about the name, I've never heard of him. Do you know anything about him, Brita? Enfira knew the most of any person present, but Brita had the upper hand when it came to knowledge of the surrounding woods. Still, even she shook her head. Sorry, I haven't heard of this Giant of the East, and I don't think Master Rackerman knows either. We don't go that deep into the forest, so we don't know as many details as someone who lives there. Then, Arg, explain from the basics. The basics? What's basic? Henry understood Arg's confusion very well. Asking specific things one by one made it easier to answer. Then will you tell us about the strong monsters living in the woods? From my perspective, ogres and barghists are strong. But if you mean ones equal to the Giant of the East, there used to be these super strong ones called the Three Big Ones. First was the one that used to be around here, the great magical beast of the south. That one was amazing. People said anyone who went into its territory would die. I don't know what happened to it. Next is the Giant of the East. It's building up its power out past the Deadwood Forest. Last is the magical serpent of the West. People say it's a gross snake that can use magic. Wait, what about the north? Supposedly, there's a lake up north, where lots of different races live. And someone is gathering them all together. I don't really know. But I heard there are twin witches in the marsh. Anyhow, when the great magical beast of the south disappeared, things started getting weird in the forest. I don't know much about it, but I guess a really horrifying guy showed up. He changed the power balance, so we were chased off, and then the structure of ruin. The ruler of the structure of ruin is a little shadow that lurks in the darkness. It can command undead. That's what someone who survived going to the place said. Everyone besides Lupus Regina looked at one another, worried. First, the great magical beast of the south. Considering its territory had been in this area, it had to be the magical beast that belonged to the adventurers Enfira had accompanied. Specifically, it was the one clad in raven black armor. Certainly, with its convincingly powerful appearance, it was worthy of the title Great Magical Beast. There was no other beast who fit that description. The Great Magical Beast is the wise king of the forest, Hamusuk, right? Ah, well, she is a great magical beast, Brita shouted upon hearing Enfira's observation. She shouldn't have had the chance to see Hamusuk since coming to the village. When they asked, it seemed she had seen the wise king from a distance in Rantle. There were two other beings equal to that one. Every person present felt shock and fear. So how did you end up on the run? Until now, the three were in a deadlock. The great magical beast of the south never left its territory, but no one could guarantee it would stay that way. There was a chance that if east and west clashed, it might sweep in from the side the moment one of them won, so no one ever fought in the first place. That makes sense. East and west could team up against south. But south never leaves its territory, so they probably never thought to team up and defeat it. There was no point in awkward meddling. We don't know what they were thinking, but until now, they each had personal territories and were building their respective kingdoms. Because of the structure, because of the master of that place, the territories have shifted. The two kings decided to fight the king of ruin. So then the two kings started gathering disposable soldiers, Arg explained bitterly. They tried to force us into fighting on their side, but even if we allied with them, they wouldn't care about goblin lives. We would have been throwaways at worst, emergency rations, so we decided to run. But it seems like it was impossible. We got attacked by the Barghest and the ogres. We had no choice but to scatter. I got this far with a bunch of others. We thought if we could reach the great magical beast of the South-Est territory, the hunters wouldn't follow us anymore. Arg said he had come this far with some companions, but there was no sign of them. When a sorrowful expression came over Enri's face, Goku spoke. Another team is conducting an investigation in the forest. If there are any survivors, as long as they don't resist, they'll probably be brought back here. I am sure the wolves will smell them. So the issue is what else we ray up against besides the Barghest, and if anything else is coming. If we ray unlucky, they'll chase you all the way to the village. Arg, what other types of monsters were there? Barghests, ogres, boggarts, bugbears and wolves, I guess. So they were your run-of-the-mill monsters then. I'd rather hear more detailed descriptions of the giant of the east and the magical serpent of the west, what they look like, what powers they have. Do you know anything? Arg shook his head. I don't know details. All I know is that they say the giant of the east has a big sword and the magical serpent of the west has a head like you guys and can use magic. All eyes gathered on Enfira, but he shook his head. It was too little to go on. The issue is what to do. If a monster equal to that amazing magical beast shows up, honestly, there's nothing we can do. All the self-defense squad is capable of is escorting the womenfolk and making a run for it. Would fortifying our defenses be enough, or should we be thinking of taking some other action? If the commotion stays confined to the forest, then we ray fine. Everyone became absorbed in thought. The best thing for people living outside the forest was for these issues to come to a resolution inside the forest. It would be problematic if these events led to a situation where the villagers were completely unable to go into the woods. But in the worst case, they would do what necessity demanded. But if the enemy can mow down tribes living in the woods, they must have gathered a crazy amount of combat power. No, my tribe used to be stronger too, but way before this, we started thinking about looking for a new place to live. We sent some adult goblin troops to the ogres. If it were NT for that, we would have been able to put up more resistance. Those grown-up goblins never came back. At Brita's question, Enfira cocked his head. He seemed to be pondering something. So I am going to totally change the subject, but I just remembered something. I wanted to ask, do you talk normally for a goblin? What do you mean? Sorry, maybe that didn't make sense. I met some goblins once before. They didn't sound very bright, but that isn't a nice way to put it. Since coming here, I see that Jujimu and the others talk normally, and you sound normal fluent. So I wondered if maybe the goblins I met just happened to be that way, like they were a primitive tribe or something. No, I am especially smart. Normal goblins don't use much grammar when they talk. Sometimes I have trouble understanding people in my tribe. It has gotten to the point where I even worry maybe I was kidnapped from a different tribe. Hey, I am only asking just in case, but don't you think I might have originally been from around this village? Have you never heard of me before? "No, I don't know about that, but it is possible you are well, boss lady, boss man, can I have a word?" Henry followed Kaijari to the corner of the room with Enfira. "That arg kid, I wonder if he is a hobgoblin and not a goblin." Hobgoblins were a subspecies of goblin, and more advanced than goblins in a variety of ways.